Hey everyone, back at the whiteboard. So we're gonna now go through how to publish Power BI dashboards and also explain the Microsoft Cloud stack, all of that. So we're inside the cloud. I'm getting really good at doing this cloud diagram here. And we have Business Central and we got Power BI. And outside the cloud, we have Power BI Desktop. And so basically what we want to do is create a dashboard. So outside the cloud, we also have, and this is the emphasis, so I'm going to do that in black. We have Power BI app. Now this application runs locally on any device. So on Apple, iOS, on Android, or even on PC, whatever, Microsoft Surface. So the app can just be downloaded from the App Store, and it can display visualizations from Power BI. So if you go into the cloud, you view it on the cloud, you get the report, which is great. But if you want to have an app that you just fire up, and you want to see how your business is doing or how something within the business is doing, and you just want to see the visualizations, you kind of play around with visualizations on your app and download the data so you can possibly not be fetching it real time or anything like that, or refreshing it on the cloud. You can do that with the app. So how do I get the data to the app? Right, so what happens is when you run the app, you synchronize everything that you have in the cloud. So what you have to do, if you create it in the desktop, is you got to publish the data back into the cloud. So you have a workspace in Power BI on the cloud, and you publish into that workspace, and then you retrieve the data into the app. And what's really cool about the app, or like what you really should focus on, is using dashboards. The dashboard is the first thing that comes up when you open up the app. So if you're kind of creating a really nice view for the user inside the app, you should create dashboards. And you can create the dashboard inside the cloud right here. Dashboard, so just do it like that. And that's what we're going to look at now. And then as you created the dashboard, when you run the application on the app, you will see the dashboard there. And the dashboard, what is that? It's basically just taking elements out of the report and putting it up on top as a dashboard, so that people, when they log in, they see that first. So let's dive into that part. All right, so now we are moving a little bit more forward in Power BI. We start here in Business Central, and we went into the Power BI desktop, which I have right here. And we created this report where we did add the description to each one of the items. So it's sales amount by actual. And what I want to do now is publish this on the app, so I can see it on the app, or I can publish it to someone else on the app. So what we did is we published it up into the cloud. So now it's available in the cloud. And so when I logged into the cloud, I have all these different workspaces. I actually just created one, but if I had more, they would be listed here. And this particular workspace has no dashboard, just has this report, PBI, which I created, which is coming from the desktop application, along with the data set, PBI. So I can take a look at the report, and I get this screen. I can look at the data set. And I see here I have these data sets, which is from the desktop application, basically published up. Now, if I go into my app, Power BI app, And that one looks like this. I'm now logged in as Paul at Inecta University, and I have no dashboards. So as I'm looking at things, I have nothing really shared with me. There are some apps out there, but these are the standard apps. But I can get into the University Test workspace, and I can see the report. So this is the app. So right now, imagine if I were on my phone or on a tablet, or even just looking this up as a user that doesn't really have access to the cloud per se, going into the workspaces there, but just wants to see it as an app, like a high-level user, like C-level or something like that. And now I can also filter on various categories here, so it's interactive. I didn't really show that before, but like if I wanted to see just tables, it highlights the tables and grays out everything else. Of course, we're interested in the cups, and we don't have a whole lot of cups in the system right now. Some coffee beans. Okay, so this is when I actually drill into the report by going into workspaces. But if I go into the main page, let me just go ahead and click on workspace. So what we want to do is create a new dashboard. And I have here a bunch of reports, of course, that come from the standard. And interesting enough, I can just browse into that just to show you. This is a standard report created by Microsoft for Business Central. And I can click on the financial dashboard in here. This is also displayed in Business Central. And you see that in various pages. You can bring up the financial dashboard. But you could also expose that in Power BI. So you don't have to have a user that goes into Business Central. You can just expose it in Power BI, have a Power BI user, which is way more inexpensive. And they could be viewing the data like this. So this is really interesting and handy. Now, what we want to do is, create a dashboard for what we just created, the PBI report, so that when a person logs into the workspace or into their place, let me just get back into that. They will get a dashboard. So let me just go ahead and do that. So I go into the cloud application, which is right here, and I have no dashboards. So I'm going to go ahead and create a dashboard. And I just go into home right here. And let me just see, dashboards, create dashboard. So I can actually do a whole lot in the cloud application. So not in the desktop application, but also in the cloud. I can almost do everything that I did in the desktop in the cloud. It just works a little bit differently. I prefer doing it on the desktop edition, but you can definitely work with it straight on the cloud. So if I create a dashboard, I'm just going to call this coffee mug dashboard. Let's create that. Now I have this, and there's nothing on the dashboard. I have nothing in here. I just created like an empty container. So I can go into the report here, and I can actually pin this by hitting that pin button. And I want to pin this to the existing dashboard. I just say yes. And I also want to pin this to the existing dashboard. Yes. So I go back into the dashboard. Now I've created these two things for the dashboard. So that dashboard is kind of taking the main things out of the reports and bringing them to the attention of the user. So they just look at the dashboard. They don't really need to go into the reports. So if I go back here and into the application, and I'm actually just going to sync it. And now that's up to date. And there's a notification. And you can see that Coffeeburg dashboard has been created. So I can just click on that and get into that dashboard. And now that's how it looks. So it's much cleaner than going into the report. And technically, if you're formatting data for the user, you just set it up as a dashboard. And then I can just click on it and get straight into the report element, etc. So this is very cool. Here, for example, is a very wide view of that. Interesting enough, I actually pinned both of these into the dashboard, but they're not connected. So if I click on this, it doesn't filter on it. It just brings it up. So if I actually go into the report and I click on it, then it works. So features, functionalities. When it's pinned on the dashboard, it's not connected. When you get into the report, if it's in the same report, it's connected. Well, these are just things you kind of learn as you're going through it, but minor details. Either way, you get the functionality you need. So I hope that was of some help. Thank you until next time.